Previously on Gears.
All right, what you got, Disi?
Today on my Disi's Double Ds, I'm featuring another motorsport guru who you've heard on the show recently, giving us F1 and motorsport updates when Sash is away. It's Shaun Watson-Smith. I thought it would be nice to find out more about Shaun and his achievements, as I'm sure we'll be chatting to him again on Gears. Shaun made his debut in production cars in 1991, and in that year was the Class E 1400cc South African champion. This was just the start of an illustrious career, and today we are chatting to this 10-time South African champion on Gears.
Legend.
Hi, Shaun. Thanks for chatting to us today.
Hi, Disi. Hi, Sasha. Nice to see you at work today for a change.
Yeah, I know. You know that, Shaun. Jeez, you've been doing a remarkable job. I'm actually thinking of taking more days off. Are you well, my friend?
Yeah, well, Disi's doing fine without you. Yeah, I'm doing very well, thanks, Sasha.
Good, man.
Nice to chat to you.
Yeah, long time no chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Shaun, starting off, what got you into motorsport, and at what age did you start taking part in events?
I suppose, all little boys are drawn to motorbikes and cars and that type of thing, and we used to go to motocross to watch, and eventually my dad got us, myself and my brother, dirt bikes, so we started racing motocross. That was in 1984, so sort of 14 years old. And I only did that for 3 years. I developed a bit of a back problem, which was quite common, in sort of young boys. And then moved to karting, and obviously immediately loved that. And did a couple of years in karts, and quickly sort of assessed that although it's everybody's dream to go single-seater racing, because Formula One is obviously the ultimate dream, the reality is that in saloon cars you can get sponsored from a very early stage in your career, and hence that was the way to go, which is exactly what we did, as you just mentioned, in 1991, with a car that we only paid about 13,000 rand for. So from a cost point of view, the racing in production cars in those days was very cheap. And within a few months, we were sponsored by the Opel factory team because, of course, they wanted the Opel to win the championship instead of the Toyota. So that was the rationale.
That's awesome. And once you were hooked, who was your mentor or idol that you looked up to?
In those days, Mark Briggs was a huge superstar. I mean, he was the top driver in the country. He was racing internationally, and he just happened to be... we were very good friends with his sister, who was at school with us, and Michael was a few years older. And, we became friends as well, and he took me under his wing, and really did help me a lot. He even would comment in interviews that he did that, he saw a lot of potential in me, and he wanted to help me to realize that potential. So, and, being in the same team as him at Opel Motorsport, I got to work side by side with him a lot over the years, and it really was, to have really he was the number one driver in the country at the time, guiding me. I was very fortunate to have access to that.
A terrific driver as well, and amazing. I mean, he was one of the first guys I ever saw who used to race with glasses on. Strange.
Yeah, but that was maybe regarded as strange, but even Ralf Schumacher in Formula One ended up racing with specs on because he couldn't get used to contact. So,
yeah,
I had a similar issue. I ended up racing, I wear contacts now, but I battled for a number of years to get used to them, and so I never wanted to take a chance in a racing car. I always put the specs on as well. If your contact lens goes out of focus when you're trying to go through Potter's Pass at 220 km an hour, you're going to have a bit of a problem.
Yeah, you see, that's my excuse as well, Shaun. I just can't see.
Shaun, you also raced overseas for a bit. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that is fantastic. In terms of a period, it was certainly the highlight of my career to go and race in British touring car in 2004. It was something that I'd watched on TV since I was a kid, and to get that opportunity was something that I honestly never even hoped for. It just seemed too far out of reach. And but I got the opportunity through Mike Carroll, who I'd worked for in the Opel team in South Africa. He was my team manager here, and he got appointed to head up the Petronas team in British touring cars. on a 3-year. They were on a 3-year deal basically, and Mark went over at the start of the second year, and he got me over at the start of the third. And it was just an incredible experience to go to all those tracks. Still just seeing Silverstone on TV, gets the pulse racing. It was just to go to those circuits that I've been watching for so many years and experience racing against guys like Ivan Muller, who ended up being a multiple world champion in touring cars, James Thompson. Some of the big names in British touring car. It was just absolutely phenomenal experience.
But you also did extremely well. I mean, you're being very modest, Shaun. You had some terrific results over there.
Sasha, the truth is that we had results in terms of, if you can call it reputational results. I had a lot of support from the press and the fans, but in terms of results on track, we struggled. The one thing that Mike
Let's go, boy. Look at this. Sapuka.
Oh, sorry, hold on. There we go. Sorry, carry on. Sorry, carry on there, Shaun.
The one thing that Mark outsourced was the engine, and our engine suppliers really let us down. So we battled with a really down on power car. On some circuits, very high speed circuits, we really did lose a lot of time. So it was a struggle to get good results. And also from my side, I was learning the circuits. And while it wasn't a major issue, I know I would have been a lot better if I'd got another crack at it the following year. But unfortunately, Petronas was, as I said, they were in the third year when I went over of a 3-year deal, and they didn't renew. So I missed out on really being able to kind of maximize the opportunity, But it was, as I said, an experience that I'll never forget.
Yeah, and you know what? It always comes down to it. You just got to have just that little bit extra in the piggy bank to try and go a little bit forward. As you say, you just needed that extra year, and who knows where it would have led to.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the one regret that I do have in my career. But, I was in line for an Opel Works drive to replace James Thompson, and in fact, Ivan Muller chatted to me and told me that he had recommended me to the team. And it did come down to a choice between me and Colin Turkington, who, unfortunately for me, they ended up taking and dropping after 1 year. But so it was actually very, very close. But even to go and have meetings with, the bosses of Opel at that point, were ex-Formula One Williams team bosses. It was very high-profile people, and to go and sit and talk to them about doing deals for the next year, and have a guy like Ivan Muller, in your corner, motivating you to the team is certainly a special memory.
Yeah, exactly.
But of course, disappointed not to be able to clinch that deal. But I suppose everything happens for a reason,
Sure.
Your career lasted over a very long period of time. How did you keep yourself on top all the time with the new youngsters coming through?
In saloon cars, it's a funny thing. You tend to get better as you get older, because it's more a mental game than a physical one. So, that becomes part of the game, to outfox the youngsters, who definitely are easier to outfox than our elder statesmen, if you want to call them that. But I was always just a very, very competitive person, and you'll find that with a lot of sportsmen who are competing at our level. They're extremely competitive, and I mean, look at a guy like Lance Armstrong. He kept his motivation going for so long. Michael Schumacher, same thing. They stopped what they were doing, and they couldn't get it out of their systems. They had to come back. So to maintain that desire is not really that difficult when you're in it. After 19 years, I was ready to stop. So I think I had my fill, but up until really 2007, 2008, I was still incredibly motivated, that's for sure.
And you met your wife at one of the races, didn't you? And you're now a dad to a little girl and another one on the way.
Yes, yeah. Well, we don't know what's on the way, a girl or a boy, but actually met Karen at Carl Army, and Dave McGregor, who used to be involved with Carl Army, always used to tease me that I'd stolen his best brolly girl because she used to do a bit of PR work there.
Always the beautiful girls at motorsport, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, well, I'm happy in my retirement at this stage. I must say I race with bicycles every now and then, so I guess that racing instinct will never quite disappear. But and in bicycles they have age groups and things like that, which is quite fortunate. But that's just mainly for fun.
You can't take a competitive streak out of someone. I've got it too, don't worry.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. But Shaun, when you came back, I mean, you tied up. It was with Audi, wasn't it?
Yeah,
With Terry Moss and the
Engine.
guys, an engine. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was also great.
Yeah.
And that was when I won my last championship in 2007, and that was very, very special to me because it was an incredibly close championship with Leroy Poulter and Johan Fourie, two guys I respect enormously. And I clinched it in the final heat. It was really it was a tough season, and honestly, out of all the championships that I won, I think that was the one that I value the most. So it was also a special time with them. You know, racing back here wasn't the same as obviously British touring cars. You know, British touring cars are one of the top saloon car championships in the world. So
Sure.
It's an incredibly high level, and it is true that we're not at that level here. But still, it was special to have a few years with Audi and Terry as well.
You hold the record. Isn't 10 South African championships the highest or
Well, the most, yeah.
the most?
Well, it certainly was a year or two ago. I don't know who's been winning the last couple of years. Maybe they've overtaken me. But, you know, I was also fortunate in those days that I won championships in 6 of the years. But we also had the overall production car championship,
Yeah.
which went to the guy who had the most points. And so that was me 4 out of those times. And I don't think you get the double title anymore.
Wow.
But sure, that is something that I'm very happy with. I can't complain. You know, that's why, you know, people often say, "Are you happy to be retired?" As well, I mean, I really had a long career. I was very fortunate to work with some of the absolutely best people on the planet in terms of designers and mechanics. So I really got absolutely nothing to complain about.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being my dude today, and I'll be giving you a call soon for F1 and motorsport updates when Sasha's away again.
No problem. I look forward to it, Tazi.
Thanks,
Excellent, Shaun. Great to speak to you, my friend. All the best.
Sasha, I'll see you at the racetrack sometime,
I
man.
look forward to it, man. Take care.
At the next intersection, turn on gears with Sasha Martinengo. Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.